Hello, nerds. Thank you for joining me right here on Generally Nerdy. This show, though, is your week in Nerdom. In this episode, we've got a very small bit of everything. Even the rumor mill this episode's pretty small. So we've got our biggest piece, actually, is the new He-Man series that just got, the casting just got announced. We're going to go over that. We're going to talk about the new Gremlins animated series. We're going to talk about Battlestar Galactica. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff going on. Let's hit the intro. Now, let's get into the music news, because that's how we start the episode, right? So, music news, we've got two things. First off is Ozzy Osbourne was supposed to be finishing his No More Tours tour, and then he got sick, and then he got sicker, and now he's canceled the tour. Some of the places that have been talking about this say it's just been postponed because they have put in place ways to honor people who have had tickets since the beginning, who have had it's been rescheduled, I believe, twice, and now it's just officially canceled. Once they do eventually go back out on the road for this tour, they are saying they will honor, if you already have tickets, then you will have first dibs at tickets for the new announced dates, because your old tickets will no longer be valid, unlike the last time when they just got rescheduled, blah, blah, blah. So, Ozzy's canceled. That's not to say that he's not doing things, though. He is still promoting his new record. He is still, Sharon is still pimping him out to do all the other stuff. He's just too sick to perform, and he is old, right? This is kind of what happens when you get to be as old as Ozzy and you've done as many drugs as Ozzy. But yeah, so it's kind of unfortunate news, but it is what it is. Next, we're talking about Adele. I actually am a bit of a fan of Adele. I think she's got a hell of a voice, and so there, you take it. There is now an unofficial announcement that is kind of sort of from Adele herself. It was, she told some friends who told some friends, and then it got leaked out to the public that her new record that she's been working on for Lord knows how long, her last record came out in 2015, so it's been 5 years, is kind of officially going to be coming out in September. Again, it's through a couple of different channels that then eventually leaked out into the public that yes, she is working on a new record and it will be out in September. This one I honestly could have put in the rumor mill, but because it kind of does come directly from Adele, I was like, well, this is closer to news than rumor. So that is what we've got for music, though. Let's talk about TV streaming, and we have, this might be our largest section, not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure this is the largest section. Even with the rumor mill technically has more individual pieces, but this is the first piece. Let's just jump into it before I bury the lead too much. We're talking about He-Man, the new He-Man series that Kevin Smith is going to be doing over on Netflix, that is going to be finishing the animated series from the 80s. If that's the word that you... Anyway, we got the official casting announcements, and there's some really big hitters. You can see the entire casting announcement in the description, in the notes section of this episode, so... we're just going to hit on a couple of the big ones. First and foremost, we have the Joker himself. Mark Hamill is going to be the voice of Skeletor, which is kind of perfect. Lena Headey, if you don't know who that is, she was Cersei in Game of Thrones. She's going to be Evil-Lyn. Again, makes a whole lot of sense. Then we're going down. Sarah Michelle Gellar is going to be Teela. Diedrich Bader. We got two guys who have played Batman. Diedrich Bader being the first one. Diedrich Bader is going to be Trapjaw or King Randor, and King Randor. can't remember if that's the same character. I'm pretty sure it is. And then Henry Rollins was the next one I was trying to find, is going to be the voice of Triclops. That's right, Henry freaking Rollins is now an animated voice actor, as well as everything else that he does so mediocrely, to such mediocrity. I love Henry Rollins, don't get me wrong, he's just not the best actor. Then we've got, oh, come on, there's a whole, Justin Long is going to be Robolo. We got Jay Muse is going to be, I can't read this. Stinkor. Oh, Jay Muse is going to be Stinkor. That's hilarious. Phil Lamar, because you must have Phil Lamar if you're going to be doing an ensemble cast like this. If you're going to be doing anything of quality in animation, I feel like Phil Lamar and or Rob Paulson have to be part of it. So Phil Lamar is going to be Hero. And Kevin Conroy, that's right, I said 2 Batmen. Kevin Conroy is going to be Merman. And then Harley Quinn Smith is going to be Lena. Again, you can see the full list of the cast down in the description or whatever notes section for the episode. That's what we've got there. That's pretty exciting. I'm really digging this announcement. Next, we're talking about the Gremlins animated series, The Secrets of the Mogwai. The original director of the first movie, who had a kind of a hand in the creation of the IP itself, Joe Dante, has made it known that he is a consultant on this new animated series that is going to be over on HBO Max, which is perfect. That is kind of the sign off on it, right? That if you've got the original dude involved in creating these characters, then that's a good thing. We're going to be seeing good things coming out of this animated series. I can only see promising stuff in the future. That's what we've got there. Next, we're talking about Battlestar Galactica. We have been kind of keeping tabs on this new reboot series that's going to be happening. Well, it's not actually going to be a reboot series. We just got word that the new series is not going to be a reboot. Remember, this is from the showrunner of Mr. Robot. So I can't remember, Rob Ismail, I believe. It's not going to be a reboot. This is going to exist in the same continuity as the 2004 series. How it ties in or where it takes place in that continuity still remains to be seen, but it is not going to be a reboot. Then our final piece of news for TV streaming is The Twilight Zone Season 2. We're gearing up. We've got a bunch of announcements for guest stars, and we haven't really talked about a lot of them, but this one's pretty huge. Apparently, Rihanna is going to have an episode in Season 2. No details about her episode just yet, but she is being approached. They're trying to get her to come in. I don't think she's officially signed the contract yet, but it does sound like they really, really want her for Season 2. I could be mistaken. There could be a contract signed, and I just didn't see that in the text anywhere, but it sounds like they have offered it to her and she has yet to respond. So that is TV streaming. Next, we're talking about movies, because that's the next section. And we really only have 2 pieces in movies, and they're relatively small. First and foremost, we were talking about Escape from New York. That's right, the reboot. This one is actually a reboot. Escape from New York. The Snake Plissken movies, if you remember, Escape from New York was the first one, and the good one. Escape from LA was the second one, and the not so good one. They starred Kurt Russell. Now we're getting word that from the director / writer Lee Whannell that they're looking to cast Kurt Russell's son Wyatt as the new Snake Plissken, which is appropriate because then you've got, I don't know how good of an actor Wyatt is. I just feel like that's a good homage, but it seems that this is a calculated move because Lee Whannell said that it is a good way to appease the fans. So I don't know if the casting, it seems to me that you would cast the right person for the job, not the actor that you think would be the most fan favorite. Does that make sense? Like, we got Michael Keaton Batman was not the fan favorite at the time, but he was the right person for the job. Same thing goes for Christian Bale. Not a fan favorite at the time, but he was the right person for the job. So in this instance, you know, the guy that inspired Solid Snake in the Metal Gear series, the guy that is kind of definitive badass from the 80s, just because he's Kurt Russell's son, does not mean he's the right man for the job. I don't know that I've really seen him in a whole lot that says, yes, leading man material, but we'll see when the movie hits, not just because he's related to the original guy, right? So next we have Planet of the Apes. This is our last piece in movie news, and we got the announcement that this one is going to be a reboot. There was kind of riding the fence last time we talked about this. It had still yet to be determined what they were going to do with this, if it was going to be a new movie in the same continuity of the previous reboot. But we just got our last movie, I guess, about 3 years ago in the previous continuity. So this seems really quick, but it's not necessarily unheard of because they did just get bought by Disney, so Disney trying to distance themselves from the previous continuity makes sense that they would want to start brand new. So we'll see if it's good. It is still a long ways out, so there is a lot that can happen between now and actual production on this movie. But that's all we have in movies. Now let's talk gaming, and we have a couple of really cool we have one really cool one and one marketing thing in gaming. First and foremost, we have Kingdom Hearts. First day with the new tongue. Kingdom Hearts is almost entirely available on Xbox One now. Every piece of content that is on the PlayStation 4 is going to be on the Xbox One by the end of this month. You've got the HD remixes 1.5 and 2.5 that got released, and then the 2.8 prologue that got released, and then there's one more expansion piece that's going to be released. All of this is on digital. There is no physical discs to buy, so you can only download these games. But then by the end of this month, so next week, we will have all of the Kingdom Hearts stuff on Xbox One. So if you are a fan of the series and just have never been able to play it because you don't own a PlayStation, because I'm one of those people, then now is your chance. You can now get all of the games. You can get caught up in the story, and then should they decide that a new DLC is appropriate for Kingdom Hearts 3, then we'll probably get that on Xbox One as well. Our only other piece in gaming is not video games, go figure. It's actually a tabletop board game, and it is Wonder Woman Challenges of the Amazons. This is totally marketing for Wonder Woman 1984. The company that's going to be doing it is Ravensburger. It will be out March, and it will be $35. I don't know anything else Ravensburger has done, so I don't know if there's going to be anything to compare it to. But it's a thing. I mean, if you're a big fan of Wonder Woman or DC franchises in general, or you want to see if and how this ties into the new movies, then, that's a thing that you want. But that's all we've got there for gaming. We only have two pieces in comic books. First up, we have Supergirl. Supergirl will be canceled as of book number 42. This has kind of been a thing that we saw coming because they've been integrating her into other active stories. So yeah, it makes sense. Though the writer Jody Houser and artist Rachel Stott just barely took this over as of book 37. So it seems like a pretty abbreviated run. They get 5 books. I mean, you do trades for 3 books, I guess, so it's not like it's that stunted. But yeah, Supergirl is coming to an end, at least for the time being. Whenever they quote-unquote cancel a comic book, it's never canceled. It will come back. They'll just restart the issue count, and it'll be a new story. But it's all of these characters will eventually all have their own books, and they'll get canceled, and then they'll come back, and that's just the nature of comic books, and we're moving on. Next, and finally, for comic books, we are talking about Empire. This is a new story arc over in Marvel, and it's going to be introducing a new hero team. And this one's pretty interesting because this is the first time, at least stateside, it's entirely possible that Marvel UK has done something like this before, but this is the first time we're getting stateside, we're getting a British superhero team. The names have not been revealed, though each character does hail from a different part of the UK. So we're getting one from Wales. We're getting, I guess, everywhere except for South Ireland, which kind of makes sense because they're the crazy ones, right? Don't take that seriously. That was a bad joke. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who they're bringing to pair up with Union Jack, who is also a British superhero. Yeah, there is a teaser trailer for it linked down in the description. You can go check that out. I'm interested to see what happens. I mean, this is, again, the first time we're getting specific superheroes from all of the British Isles. So, yeah, see what happens, I guess. Now, the final section of the entire episode, the one that I'm sure a lot of you have been waiting for, it is Rumor Mill. And we actually have a small rumor mill by comparison for today's episode. Usually rumor mill's the largest section because there's a lot of stuff that people are chit-chatting about, and telephone is a thing. So that's not really the case this time. We've got a couple of rumors, though, dealing with the new Flashpoint movie. First up, there is word that there is going to be a big callback to the comic books, in that we're going to see Aquaman versus Wonder Woman in this Flashpoint movie in some way. It doesn't sound like if we do see it, because Momoa and Gal Gadot still have to sign off on doing this. But according to the rumor, if we do see it, it doesn't sound like that is going to be a major plot point. It just sounds like that's going to be something that we see throughout the course of the movie, and not really something that drives the movie in any direct way. So unlike the comic books, it's just a kind of a cool thing to see. Next, also dealing with Flashpoint, we have word that we are going to be seeing Mirror Master to some degree in this movie. That one I only got from one source, so it's not as viable of a rumor, but it's still fun to consider all of the different possibilities going into Flashpoint. And then, along the lines of the rumor that we talked about a couple of episodes ago about Reverse Flash, it seems that they're looking at Jessica Chastain to play the Reverse Flash. So that one kind of ties into one we've talked about before, so maybe it has a little bit more legs. Maybe that is something that they're kind of letting out there to see, gauge fan reactions. That's all we've got for Flashpoint. Now we're talking about Loki. Apparently there is a new rumor that Loki will be introducing, to some degree, Kang the Conqueror, which kind of ties into all of the other Disney Plus rumors that we've been talking about that are kind of pointing towards Fantastic Four. I realize Kang the Conqueror is more of an Avengers villain, but he is also a Fantastic Four villain from time to time. So that could be some way to introduce the Four. It could just be a fun Easter egg that they're planting in the series. That's all we've got there. Next, we've got a Lucifer update. It seems that there is word, perhaps, that we're going to be seeing a 6th season, and the 5th season will not actually be the final season. According to this rumor, though, they are in early talks between Warner Brothers and Netflix for a 6th season that will, if it does happen, end up on Netflix. So that's pretty awesome, if you're a Lucifer fan, I guess. Then we're moving on to Resident Evil. This is not the Resident Evil Netflix series. This is the Resident Evil reboot movie that is rebooting the movie franchise. This rumor says that Brenton Thwaites, that's right, Mr. Nightwing himself from the DC universe, he is being courted to play Chris Redfield in the new reboot movie. So if they're starting with Chris Redfield, maybe there's going to be a better game tie-in analog thing. with this series, really, we won't know until it happens, and it's probably going to be a dumpster fire. And then our final rumor for the episode has to do with the Batman. And actually, there's a couple of rumors here. So this is another group of rumors. But first, we have a bunch of rumors that say kind of the same thing, just different people wanting this to happen. So some of the rumors are saying Matt Reeves wants to put Harley Quinn into the Batman trilogy that he's making, and then still other rumors are saying that Warner Brothers wants to do this. But the thing that they both have in common, both of these rumors have in common, is that it's not going to be Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. Now, depending on which version of the rumor you want to believe, that is due to a couple of different possibilities. First off is maybe it's because this is a different continuity, because Margot Robbie is part of the old DCEU and their reboot DCEU that Matt Reeves and J.J. Abrams are in charge of is going to have a different Harley Quinn altogether. Or, if you believe another version of this rumor, it's because it is a prequel Harley Quinn. Woo, words. It's because it's going to be a younger version of the character. And if that's the case, then we probably will get introduced to her as a doctor at Arkham, which would be really cool. I don't see it happening in the first movie, though, and again, according to the rumor, it's not going to be the first movie. It will be just sometime along the way in Reeves's trilogy. So there's that. And then we also have a real quickie rumor inside Batman Rumors that we're going to be seeing Robin in this first Batman movie. It sounded like a cameo, as from what I could gather. It sounded like there was going to be some sort of cameo from Robin. But it's not going to be setting up a sequel to the Batman. It will be setting up a spin-off movie that will focus on Robin. Again, if the rumor is true. But that's all we've got for the episode, guys. What did I miss? What should we talk about next week? Let me know in the comments down low. If, though, you want to go deeper into the conversation, jump over to the website, generallynerdy.net. That is the place to find all of the social media links. All of the links to everything exist on generallynerdy.net. So check that out. Or if you want to go directly over to the Patreon and support the channel, then the address is patreon.com/generallynerdy. There is additional content up there. So go check it out. Go see all of the stuff. Help support the channel. Help me keep these lights on. And before we go, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button if you appreciate what I'm trying to do here. And again, before we go, always remember, guys, that if it's generally nerdy, it is probably here.